Welcome, Power fans. We are back in the Power universe with Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 3. Episode 1 has just finished, so let's get right into it. Before I begin, just to let you know, I'll be recapping each and every episode this season, so make sure to check back here right after the episodes end, close to about 1 a.m. Saturday morning, Friday night, whichever you prefer. So let's get right into it. Rock and Unique. This is our new power couple, I'm assuming. Didn't see this coming. We always knew Unique was attracted to Rock. It's like every man seems to be attracted to Rock, but it seemed like she was too smart to bring herself down to someone on his level. But things have changed this season. And what's mainly changed, I would say, is Rock's mindset at this point. She is up against the wall. She has really no one in her corner at this point. She's alienated her brother Lou. Kanan hates her at the moment. She got Laverne's mother killed, and her business is in peril. Yes, she fought off the Italians, in the season finale for season 2, but she knows they're going to be coming back strong. She has no muscle now. They lost men. Her other brother Marvin, he's on the men now, took a shot in the stomach. So she is, I think, kind of at her wits' end at this point, and she's vulnerable. And I think sometimes when we're in crisis, we kind of revert back to, I would say, our primal states, so to speak. We just look for kind of stereotypical things of protection and things along those lines. So when I look at someone like Unique, why he would be appealing to her in this type of situation is, yes, not as smart as her, very unrefined, but I think she knows above anything someone like Unique is capable of protecting her. He's capable of keeping her safe out here in the streets, and he's capable of keeping the Italians at bay, like he's demonstrated in the last finale when he saved her from getting killed. So I think when you add all that up, this is why the attraction is starting on her end. That's all fine and good, but what's going to be the ramifications and consequences of this relationship should it get deeper, which it probably will? Number one, I think we need to look at Unique's situation. I think his brother that just got home, his clock is already ticking because, as you can see, I thought when he first came in, he was going to be like a kind of like maybe a Brother Muzone kind of sophisticated type of character. No, he's basically like a relic. He's operating how things were before he went to jail, which it seems like it was probably over 5 years ago. So game is totally different now, and he doesn't seem like somebody that's willing to adapt. And we still have that little brother, big brother dynamic. Seems to be, I won't say Unique is afraid of him, but he still kind of defers a little bit, still a little bit of intimidation and um reverence, I guess might be the closest word you can get to that big brother. He doesn't really, he falls back when his brother kind of reprimands him, and we've never seen that before. So where I think the consequences come in is that dynamic with Rock coming in, she's not going to tolerate her man having somebody like that disrupting the business. So I think she's going to be quick to get him out of the paint, because already he's been talking crazy about her, saying you're taking orders from this woman before you were in charge. So he has one time to say something crazy to Rock in front of Unique, and I think Ronnie's going to be out of here. So I don't even give him until the end of the season. I think he's going to be out of here by like mid-season. I don't see him as a long-term character. So, you know, grand opening, grand closing with Ronnie, I give him until about maybe episode 4 or 5. Now let's look at the ramifications on the streets. You know, Rock is talking about she wants to get out of the game. That's not going to happen if you're with someone like Unique. Now that Unique has been intimate with her, he's not going to let her go. So he's going to get her wrapped up deeper into the business and, looking at her counsel about how to run things. She's going to be the brains behind the operation. So I think the both of them together, they're going to be able to get the Italians completely out the paint. And that last, I think it was the end of season 1 where she was kind of overlooking the entire city. It might have been season 2, but I think it was season 1. I think that's going to actually come to fruition with her being with Unique. I think them together, there's no one that we've seen so far that can really stop them. I think they'll just run roughshod over the city as long as it lasts. The other ramification would be, what about the brothers? How are Lou and Marvin going to take this? I know Marvin's not really going to like it, but he always kind of defers to Rock in her counsel. So I think her just telling him to mind his business will be enough. I know Kanan is just going to hate it. But that might be Kanan's way to kind of get into the business, so to speak, even more, because I think Unique will take a liking to him and kind of see the potential in Kanan. So I think that might be the pathway, even though I know Kanan wants to be away from Rock and try and do his own thing. We see he's getting no headway anywhere. So I think this might be the way for, Kanan might give him some work on the side away from Rock to kind of get his own thing kind of going again. But we'll see. But that whole situation with Rock and Unique uh, is going to be very interesting this season to see how things turn out. Let's not forget Malcolm, Detective Howard. I don't think he wants to get with Rock again, but he wants her to be safe because he knows with her being safe, Kanan will be safe. So with her being with Unique, that's anything but safe. So we know he's not going to appreciate it. So then there's going to be friction between him and Unique. And he's already caught the body, which we'll talk about in a second. So I don't know if he's going to be willing to actually take it there with Unique. But we will see on that end. Now, speaking of Mr. Malcolm Howard, our, corrupt detective, he done took out his partner. Shannon is out the picture. You kind of knew it was going to be coming because she was just pushing way too hard. Her biggest downfall is that she doesn't have any subtlety. Everything is done with complete self-righteousness, and she always shows her hand. She always lets everyone know that she comes in contact with what she's thinking and what her plans are. So she was overexposed from the beginning. So I thought that she might be out of here by like maybe mid-season or maybe make it to the end of the season, but no, she's out of the pain at the end of episode 1. She has a secret meeting, or what she thinks is a secret meeting with Malcolm. He's going to tell her everything. And while they're in the car, he blows her brains out. Now, here's the thing. Did Malcolm make any mistakes that this can come back on him? So he wiped the blood away. That's number one. Um, I think he wiped the fingerprints away, so that should be good. He took her gun and put her handprints on the gun that he had there that he killed her with. And he also got her recorder. She was recording the conversation of 1 and 2, and he got that too. So everything seems to be covered on the scene. Doesn't look like any witnesses were there, so all that's covered. But there's a few things where I'm thinking this is still going to come back on him, and he's probably going to get locked up by the end of the season. So number one, we don't know if Shannon told anyone that she was going to meet him. So that, she might have told her father, even though her father was against her looking into Howard anymore. She may have said, I'm going to do this last thing. And I'm sure she told someone, and probably her father. So that's going to lead to some suspicion right there. Or she left a note behind or something about what she's planning to do. And if something happens to me, Howard was the last person I was going to see. So there's going to be, I think she told someone or left some evidence of what she was going to do. The other thing is this gun that he gave her. I'm assuming it's a clean gun, but we don't know that for sure. Who does it trace back to? Would it make sense for her to have that type of gun? Because it's not her firearm. Her firearm was given to the chief. So where does she get this other random gun from? So looking into that gun might end up going back on Malcolm. So I think those are the two big things where I'm concerned about where he can get caught up. Or, when he went to go meet her, did he go by any tolls or anything that can leave a potential paper trail? So I don't think he's completely in the clear. I think this is going to come back on him slowly by the time we get to the end of the season. I think it's going to be one of those kind of subplots that simmers below the surface and really picks up in the last probably 3 episodes, so to speak. So, but Howard's getting reckless. If he's willing to catch bodies, like I said, we'll see what happens when he finds out about Rock and Unique, because everybody wants Rock. She is just, her, we want to call it the divine feminine or whatever, just her energy, just attracts men, period. So, I know Unique is going to be head over heels for her now. He's going to be willing to do anything that she says. So that's going to be some type of friction between Howard and Unique. We're going to see where that goes. So those were the main things that stood out to me this episode. We're off and running. The funny thing is, the way things are going, Kanan is always kind of like not the character that interests me the most. So he's almost kind of like a side character in his own story, which is kind of funny. But I don't mind it so far. I'm pretty much happy with everything focusing on Rock. She's a very dynamic character and a leader, and how she kind of goes about being a puppet master with these different characters is very interesting for me to watch. So I do enjoy that. Oh, I forgot to mention Laverne. So the actress name Haley Kilgore. I want to give her some props. I really enjoyed her acting this episode. One thing I've always appreciated with how she does Laverne is that Laverne, she has that hard exterior. She has that death stare that she likes to give people, but she's really a big softie at heart. Like if you get her heart and show interest in her, all of that collapses. She'll be completely loyal and just like a teddy bear. You know, we saw that with the girl that she was dating that ended up passing away. You know, if you show, true interest in her, you see that little girl that she really is. And we saw a moment of that finally with her father, with all that tension that they had when she had her mother's stuff and saw her mother's stuff there and thought about going to the funeral. She couldn't really give her dad an answer, but when her dad reached out to her, Marvin, you saw that she embraced him and just started breaking down. You know, that's the true Laverne, but we don't get to see that Laverne because of the environment that she's in. She has to keep up that hard exterior. And one of the heartbreaking things in this episode that some of you may have missed is when she talked to that white guidance counselor. And this happens a lot in cities, urban cities in particular. You know, she asked her, well, what are you interested in? She told her she's interested in singing. And what did she say? Well, that's not a career. Just completely dismissed, Laverne's one true passion. Like no one's made a career in music or made a career in music. You know, if that was a white girl, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have said that to her. But this little, urban girl, she doesn't see that type of future for her. And really it just seemed like she was rushing it. She had no qualms about her rushing out of there because she's ready to get to her lunch. And you want to, just think about how many kids had their potential direction and passions altered by this woman who just didn't care, who just wants to hurry up to her lunch. So, the fact that no one is showing interest in her like that, we see where that can lead to a lot of kids. I think that was cool that 50 put that in there, in particular, because around this time in the 90s, a lot of music programs were being taken out of the schools. That's what, and actually in the 80s too. And that's what kind of led to hip hop, so to speak, the music going out into the streets because instruments, things like that weren't in the schools anymore. So where was that creative outlet going to go? It was going to go out in the streets. So I liked what we saw with Laverne. Rooting for her. I really hope things will work out for her, but there's so much pain and setbacks that she's experiencing. And we know what Jukebox turns into as an adult, how callous and cold she was. So I think we have more heartache in store for poor Laverne going forward, but we'll see where she goes. Her mom's out the picture. At least she's going to be getting closer back with Marvin that does appear. Speaking of Marvin, he has this Wolverine healing factor. He took a shot straight in the gut. I know he's kind of grimacing a little bit, but he took it pretty well. You'll notice in a couple scenes he's moving around pretty well for someone who took a shot straight through his stomach. So I think Marvin is going to be hanging around. I don't see him dying. But Lou, on the other hand, I don't know if he's going to make it through the season. He's in this complete stupor. One prediction I'm pretty comfortable about him is I don't think he's ever going to forgive Rock or recover from that scene where she palmed his head and told him, I own you, nigga. He's never going to get over that. That's why he's drinking. He's just out of it. I think that depressed him more than seeing as, a woman get shot in front of him or killing Crown. I think this, that totally emasculated him, and he's just never going to forgive or get over that. So with him drinking, being reckless, I think he's pulling Kanan into this a little bit, but Kanan, told him, I can never tell her no. Speaking of Rock, Rock will always be his mother. So I don't think he's going to completely align with Lou, but I think as Lou's going to continue, pillow talking with him and all that. Well, not really pillow talking, change that term, these little conversations that they're drunk conversations that they're having. I think eventually he might say something to Kanan about we need to take her out or we need to get her out of the picture. And if he does that, Kanan is going to be loyal to his mom. So he's going to let her know. And that could be a way that Lou gets taken out of the picture because we know Power loves having relatives kill each other. So that's one potential thing. Or she can send Unique to take him out. But Lou is just in the wind right now. I think if he continues down this path, Rock is not going to have any qualms about taking him out of the picture. So let me know what you guys think about this episode. Very good starting point. What do you think about this relationship between Unique and Rock? I think they're unstoppable. Do you think this is going to be actually lead to her downfall? What about Professor Detective Howard killing his partner Shannon? Is he going to take the fall for that this season, or is he going to get away with it? Let me know what you think about that, Laverne, all the other characters, and I will see you next week to cover episode 2 of book 3, Raising Kanan. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.